Now, the whole point of this cold email outreach strategy is not to get a link or to get a sale. That's the end goal, but the first cold email is not about that, so don't ask for anything in return. The only thing that you want is a response. You're trying to increase your response rate because you want to build relationships. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to share with you the exact cold email template that I use to get insane results for both myself and my clients. This has helped me secure dozens of authority backlinks as well as brand new clients for my agency. As you can see, this particular cold outreach campaign that I just ran had a 23% response rate, and it actually landed me a guest post on webrisk.org. This guy's been featured on Moz, Ahrefs, Search Engine Land, and I got a guest post on his website simply by sending him a cold email. In fact, if you see right here, I am the only author on his site besides him, and I got a link for both myself and for my client. This guy's got links from Brian Dean from Backlinko, Neil Patel, Moz.com, Ahrefs, Authority Hacker, and more. So this guy's got a lot of authority, and it really helped me out getting a link from him. So with that being said, I'm going to share with you the exact strategy and the exact email that I sent and that I used to score this opportunity, and that I use consistently to score more for my other clients. And hopefully you can implement the same strategy and the same tips to get some insane results for yourself. But first, I want to talk about some of the strategy behind my cold emails really quick, just so you know what I'm thinking and why I'm doing what I'm doing, because this is really what's going to help you. This strategy is really what's going to help you, not even the cold email itself. So a good cold email always starts out with personalization. Now, I learned this from Alex Berman over at Experiment 27. His business helps you get a lot of meetings with Fortune 500 companies like McDonald's and stuff like that, Coca-Cola, and he has a lot of really good cold email tips that I highly recommend you go and check out. But I've taken his strategy, his approach, and used it for link outreach because it works incredibly well. And one of the biggest things that he stresses and that I now stress is personalization. You need to make sure that your emails are personalized, because people are going to know when you send a giant blast of emails to 1,000 people that are all the same. So personalization means, on a more detailed level, it means you need to, first of all, know what you're trying to accomplish with this outreach campaign. So if you're trying to build authority links, you need to be emailing the decision maker for the website. That might be the owner, it could be the CEO of a company, it could be the editor-in-chief. You have to figure that out. Figure out who they are and their first name. You also have to find their personal email address, because if you're trying to address them by their first name, but you send the email to contact@company.com, it might end up in front of a secretary or a VA, and they're not going to care, right? You want to go to their personal email address, and you have to write them a personalized, highly customized first line with a compliment that's going to call out something specific that they've done, some work that they've done, or something that they've accomplished, and give them a genuine compliment, not a generic compliment, okay? Don't say love your blog. You could say that to literally any blog owner. You want to make the compliment specific enough that it would only make sense to send to your target. And I'm going to show you how I did that with my email to Ryan Stewart. But yeah, you have to make it highly personalized, because people only care about themselves, and the whole reason these people are on the internet is because they want money and they want traffic and some recognition for their work. So if you give them that, they will love you. So next is make your email short and sweet. Anybody who is worth emailing, like this guy Ryan Stewart, for example, has a lot going on. They have a lot of business to deal with, and they don't have time to read an email the size of the Old Testament. So you need to make sure that your emails are short and sweet, and they get your point across without making them read it for hours, right? My emails are usually 4 to 6 sentences long. They get what I need to say across to the target, but they don't take up too much space, or they don't take too long to read. When I read my emails, when I proofread them before I send them, I basically make sure I have a few components: a genuine compliment, the reason why I'm emailing them, and a call to action, right? So you want to make it as short as possible, and when you read your emails, come from the perspective of an asshole who doesn't know you or doesn't care about you, because really, people don't care about you or what you have to offer. They only care about themselves. So that brings us to our next point. Every single line of the email should be about the other person and what's in it for them. People care more about themselves than they do about a tsunami in Japan, right? Which I know sounds terrible, but think about it. If you woke up with a pimple on your forehead, it would really suck, because you'd have to walk around all day, and people are going to look at you with it on your forehead, and it's embarrassing, and it's a lot to deal with, right? But when a natural disaster happens across the world, it is sad, but you hear about that kind of stuff all the time on the news. So you just kind of look at it, you're like, oh, that sucks, and then you move on. So that being said, you have to know that people, when they read your emails, only care about themselves, and they want to know why you're emailing them in the first place. And if there's nothing in it for them, they're not going to respond. So make the whole email all about them. And lastly, you want to make sure that you end with a good call to action, right? So that means ending with a question. Now, the whole point of this cold email outreach strategy is not to get a link or to get a sale. That's the end goal, but the first cold email is not about that, so don't ask for anything in return. The only thing that you want is a response. You're trying to increase your response rate because you want to build relationships. You have to do a value-first approach to get your foot in the door and build a relationship, build some rapport, offer some value, and then you can come back around later on and send the pitch, which is going to be a lot better once you've warmed up your target and they've gotten to know you a bit. They're going to like you more and they'll be more receptive to your pitch, right? If you send the same generic email that everyone sends, like, hey, Joe Schmo, love your blog. I noticed you wrote an article about pandas, and I wrote an article about chimpanzees, and I noticed you're linking to this article about chimpanzees, but mine's longer and mine's better, so if you go check it out, then maybe, you can link to mine, but either way, keep up the good work. Thanks. Loser. That's what that person is. They're a fucking loser because nobody cares about your article. And what's in it for that person? Nothing. They're gonna have to look at their article, take all their time to look at their article, look at your article, read it through, and then maybe change the link. But it really doesn't benefit them at all. They don't care, and it's just gonna go right in the trash. Anyone who's busy enough or has a big enough blog to where it would be worth getting a link from is gonna have 100 of those emails coming in every day. And you need to be able to stand out from the crowd if you want to get a link from a top tier blog like I did, right? So now that you know this stuff, I'm going to show you the exact script that I used and the exact email that I sent to Ryan Stewart, and I'm going to show you how I landed this post. All right, so I'm going to show you the exact mail merge that I used here, and then I'm going to show you what the actual email looked like later. But first, we're going to walk through the strategy. So I start out with their first name. Hey, first name, because people love hearing their own name. Your name is the sweetest sound in the English dictionary because we're programmed to respond to our names since we're children. So when you include the name, it's not only going to make them like you more, it's going to convey the message that you know who they are and that you're like on a friendly level. And better than that, when they see their own name in their inbox, it's going to pop out at them more because they see their name and they're going to be prompted to want to look at. The next part will as well. It's the personalized first line. So this is where you have a full sentence that is customized to them, where you call out something specific. It's about them, and you compliment it genuinely. It doesn't mean saying love your blog. That means saying, like, I saw your TED talk, and I thought the point you made about this was really interesting because blah, 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 right? 1 to 2 sentences max, but it's highly customized, and it shows that you're not sending a giant email, even though you are, but they don't have to know that. They're going to think it's a personal email, and it makes them like you more because you're complimenting them. You're juicing up their ego a little bit, right? Next, we have why you're emailing them. So I say emailing you because, and then a problem. So I'll find a problem with their website, which could be that their site is slow. It could be that they have a URL structure issue. They could be having indexation issues. I'm an SEO and website kind of guy, so I find those kinds of problems. But you can find another issue that you want to tell them about. It could be a broken link even, right? And then I say, I love what you do, so I'm happy to help for free. Mind if I send over some suggestions with the question mark at the end of the email? So that is the call to action. There's a question mark at the end, and I'm not asking for a link. I'm not asking them to do anything except to respond with yes. It's a super easy response. They don't have to do anything. They just have to look at it and say, yeah, I want some suggestions. Like, the worst case scenario is they just don't like what I have to say, right? That's why you want to make sure that you offer them some value when you follow up with that email. But the point is, it's a super easy thing to say yes to. I'm not asking them for anything. I'm just trying to build some rapport. And then I close it off with thanks for your time, and I use their name again because everyone loves their name. And then I end with a signature. So I have my profile picture, where I work, and my phone number and everything, so they can see who I am, match my face with the email, and kind of realize I'm an actual human being, not just a robot sending them an email. So with all that said, let's hop over to my email, and I'm going to show you the exact first email I sent to Ryan Stewart to land the guest post. Hey Ryan, enjoyed reading about your experience getting 15,861 visits in 30 days. Your breakdowns are specific, and your technical process and results back up your statement of being the best in the game. Emailing you because I noticed a few technical issues with your website that are slowing it down. Love what you do, so happy to send over some tips for free. Mind if I send over some suggestions? Thanks for your time, Ryan. And then I have my signature. So here I have his first name, and here you'll notice this is a very personalized first line. I didn't say love your blog or love your strategy. That's very generic. But I said something specific enough to the point where he's going to know that I am a fan and that I took my time to do my research, and I'm calling out something so specific that it wouldn't make sense if I sent this first line to anybody else. So it's highly customized, and it's gonna make him realize that I'm legit and I actually like his stuff. And actually I do, because when I was in college, before I left school, I used to listen to his videos about SEO on the way to class and on the way back to my dorm because I wanted to learn a lot. So I thought it was cool that he actually responded to me. But anyway, next up, I say I'm emailing you because I noticed a few technical issues with your site that are slowing it down. So I basically said your site's loading slowly. I found some problems, and I asked him if he would mind if I send over some tips to speed up his website. So why wouldn't you want to ask a question that is almost framed where it's like, why wouldn't they say yes, right? Anyone who's in their right mind would probably want some free tips about their site loading slow because it's not going to hurt them in any way. He said, of course, fire away, and I let him know about some issues I was seeing and just try to be really helpful here. He actually asked me if I could fix it for him, if I could pay him to fix it, which I said no to because I'm not an expert. But he was even willing to pay me, and I've gotten a lot of these people offering to pay me after this because, like I said, you can use this for links, but you can also use this for clients. If I was a web developer, I would use this strategy to get web development clients, and I would tell them, hey, I found a problem with your website, and then they would probably want to pay me to fix it. But I wanted a backlink. I didn't want money, so I actually said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not an expert, I wouldn't feel comfortable. But then I came in later on with a pitch, and I said, hey, I noticed you don't have a lot of content on your link building learn section here. If I show you, he only had a few posts in the link building category of his blog. So I wrote one for him, and I made a really, really interesting pitch that he loved. So I wrote him a solid guest post, and I included a link to myself and to my client in it, and he loved the guest post. So much so that he even gave me his WordPress login so I can actually go in and add the post to his site. Now, I actually still have the information. I could go in now if I wanted to. Of course, I'm not going to do that, but it's cool that he trusted me enough to allow me to log into his WordPress backend. Only as an author, of course, but the point is I built rapport with this guy, and he liked me, and then because I stood out from the crowd, I pitched him something he couldn't resist, and I landed the guest posts. This is what I do with all of my clients for link outreach. I use a relationship first approach instead of just trying to spam for links. This way, even if they say no, you weren't spamming them and you're going to leave on good terms. But most of the time, people are happy to work with you, and you can use this strategy to come up with a lot of cool custom pitches for different scenarios. So I've used this strategy. In fact, in this post, I even outline how I use this same approach to get links without guest posting. But this time, this was such a big site that I wanted to guest post, and I wanted to be featured on his website because it's a good thing to show off, to be honest with you. But you can use the same strategy to try and get editorial links as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm curious to hear about the worst cold emails that you've received as a blog owner because I know I've received a lot of trash cold emails, so leave them down below. I'd love to hear about them. And if you have any questions, please ask them down below. I'm always happy to answer. If you want to hire me to do your link outreach for you, check out my website, tuwinerseo.com. And lastly, make sure you're subscribed because I post new videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern talking about new link outreach tactics that you can use to get some really, really cool links for your site. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.